Tonight, Tom Boyd to take time off with depression. We hear from coach Luke Beveridge. A giant danger game for GWS. Their star goal sneak is set to miss the trip to Tassie to face the Hawks. And the Revolts unite ahead of Maddie's match. Plus, Sam Jacobs joins us live from Adelaide. Thanks for your company on AFL Tonight. I'm Nerily Meadows. Western Bulldogs coach Luke Beveridge has revealed Tom Boyd has been dealing with clinical depression for an extended period of time. The 21-year-old has no timeline for his return, but the club says he's got no intention of quitting footy. Drew Jones has more.
Tom Boyd seemingly had the world at his feet. A fairy tale premiership in which he played his best ever game, a lucrative contract living back home with his friends and family. It's proof that mental health doesn't pick and choose its victims. Boyd will take time away from the club as he battles clinical depression.
He's optimistic that he's going to be okay, and he's got a future in the game, which is great from a footballing perspective. But I think he's settled, and from a mental health perspective, he's in a better place.
There's no timeline for Boyd's return to footy, but he won't be giving up the game completely.
I don't think so. No, his messaging to us is that he's nowhere near that point. So, we're optimistic that we'll have Tom back as a player at some point, which is obviously the second priority.
Boyd has been dealing with the issue for some time now. His epic finals form was achieved under duress, and coach Luke Beveridge says the extra media scrutiny that Boyd endures as a #1 pick and highly paid star hasn't helped.
Him and I have had ongoing conversation around how to manage, the external noise and deal with the pressures of the game. Obviously, he's a young man through circumstances who's become a high-profile player well before his time. Obviously due to, the contract being a #1 draft pick as well.
For now, Boyd will take time away from the club, as did Travis Cloke, who's also battling mental health issues. The good news for Cloke is that he could be playing footy as soon as this weekend.
He's been training with us. He's been training with our rehab group, and he's training with the main group today. But he seems like he's back and ready, keen for a kick. So he'll play on Sunday, almost definitely.
Boyd's leave of absence is another blow for the Dogs in what has been a problematic premiership defence, but they remain defiant.
We feel as a club, and with our teams, we've got gas in the tank. There's a fair bit left in us, as much as we haven't been getting things right. But we've always got enough gas to help one of our own.
The Dogs will try and keep their season on track when they travel to Adelaide in a Friday night showdown with the Crows.
Well, Jake Nile joins me now. Jake, what's the AFLPA's reaction to this news on Tom Boyd?
Well, the AFLPA's reaction, probably the most interesting thing is the pressures that are on players today and the mental health problems that players are having. Also, we've had Alex Fasolo and, of course, Travis Cloke coming out publicly with their problems, and they have been surveying, the AFL Players Association have been surveying clubs. They've been to 5 clubs so far, and one of the top 2 concerns of players when they're asked to nominate their priorities is mental health. So there's obviously a raft of reasons. What the players are trying to work out is whether it is due to more detections because people are more willing to talk about it, like...
which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing, or whether indeed there's a greater prevalence. Talking to people around the industry, there was a general feeling that it is both. Players are more open about their problems, but there are also more problems, social media, what we do, the scrutiny on players, which is obviously played somewhat into Tom Boyd, although from what I gather, it's an accumulation of little things rather than one thing in particular, but every case is different. And we had Buddy Franklin, of course, with his issues some years back, and that really wasn't about performance, was it?
All right, AFL Diversity Manager Ali Fahua is facing the tribunal tonight. Now, you've got a very interesting development on things. We know he was a key character witness for Basher Hooley when he faced the tribunal last week. What can you tell us tonight?
I can tell you narrowly that when Basher Hooley faced the AFL Tribunal on that celebrated case last week, Ali Fahua wanted to give character evidence and did give character evidence for Basher Hooley. He was explicitly advised by the AFL not to do so, and he still went ahead and decided to give, which is, I guess it's a free world, decided to give character evidence on behalf of Bachar Houli, obviously supporting his friend. So I think that's a very interesting...
so he went against orders from the AFL?
Orders would be... I don't think orders would be an accurate word. I think advice, and that was from his line manager, Andrew Dillon.
OK, well, it's interesting because Houli has released a statement on social media today returning the favour in essence. It says, Ali Fahua made a mistake, an error of judgment, and knows full well that these actions, like mine, are not acceptable. I don't condone what he did, although he is not alone. We have all made mistakes in our lives, and it's about owning it and how you use it to make you a better person. Ali Fahua is a person of highest character, a person I would trust my life with. Don't let the people who have unfairly portrayed him or others who don't know him give you any other perception of a guy with incredible character. You will always be my brother no matter what. Stay strong. We are with you. So they're the words of Bachar Houli today on social media. What's your reaction to that?
Well, look, good on him for sticking up for a friend, but I'm not sure it's going to be helpful to either party, really.
What happens tonight at the tribunal?
Well, it's in the Northern Football League, and the AFL are very much... We see the incident again here. It's a horrible incident. King hit, nothing less. He will get a big stretch, and he could conceivably, because of previous penalties, be out for good as a result of it. So the big question, though, narrowly, is what the AFL does tomorrow when he receives his penalty at the Northern Football League tonight. How the AFL react? Will they sack him? Will he resign, or will he be moved down to a lesser role, suspended? They're the questions, and there's enormous community pressure for him to be removed.
Jake Null, thank you very much for the update.
Thanks.
The injury curse at the Giants doesn't look like letting up. Toby Green is unlikely to return this weekend, while Steve Johnson is in doubt with soreness. One positive over the past couple of weeks has been the performance of one of their key forwards.
Jonathan Patton is the definition of a man in form. Back-to-back 4-goal games, yet it was the final 7 minutes he'll remember most against the Cats when he was stuck on the interchange bench.
If you don't come off, then someone else is stuck on the bench, so you don't want to put yourself ahead of the team. And if I had my time over again, knowing the circumstances, I would have stayed on. But saying that, those things happen. If the player had been on this side of the oval, it would have been a different story.
A situation the coach hopes doesn't happen again.
We thought we'd give him a minute or two and then go back on and finish the last 5 minutes with a gusto. In the end, that didn't happen. We all know the ball was stuck out the other side. When you have a player in form and seeing the ball as well as what John was, he should have stayed on the ground. It's always an interesting one to juggle, but we live and learn, and we learn from the mistake that we made on the weekend.
It's been a swift turnaround for Patton after poor performances against Carlton and Essendon, all stemming from an honest chat with the coach.
We had a great honest chat after the Carlton game. You know, when we sort of put it on him as he needs to really step up, he put it on himself, and I'm rapt that he's actually putting all that hard training that he's had in the last couple of years on the back of some nasty injuries into play.
Toby Green is still no certainty to return from an ankle injury after being a late withdrawal against the Cats, while Steve Johnson is also in doubt after pulling up sore.
You know, we're also mindful how many games he can play in a row. The game was really brutal on the weekend. It was a contested game, it was a high-pressure game, so if he's not right, he's not right, but he's probably 50-50 as well.
The Giants will play in Launceston for just the second time in the club's history when they play Hawthorn on Saturday afternoon. Jeff Smith, Fox Sports News 500.
OK, we're heading to some breaking news just in now. Police are investigating a current AFL player and a former player over a serious matter. Julian De Stoop joins us live. Jules, what can you tell us?
Hi, Nerilla. Yeah, this story is just breaking, as you mentioned, courtesy of Mark Robinson at the Herald Sun. What we can confirm via the Hawthorn Football Club that the current player being investigated by police is Tyrone Vickery. So the Hawks have just released a statement saying the Hawthorn Football Club is aware that Ty Vickery is assisting police in an investigation. As the matter is under investigation, the club will be making no further comment at this time. Now, the AFL has also been contacted about this story this afternoon, not making any comment either, but they did confirm that they knew the investigation was going on. So as you mentioned there off the top, it's a former player and a current player under investigation on serious charges, and that current player is Tyrone Vickery from the Hawks, who's had a very up and down start to his career as a Hawthorn footballer, and as we say, He's currently assisting with the police over this investigation. But as we say, the Hawks have just confirmed that current player being investigated is indeed Tyrone Vickery.
Julian De Stoop, thank you very much for the update. A potential sellout for a great cause off-field and a vital match on it between St Kilda and Richmond. It's hard not to get excited about Maddie's match at Etihad Stadium on Saturday night. Jack and Nick Revolt spoke at the launch of the Art of Football exhibition, which will help raise funds for Maddie's vision.
I guess that's what's so exciting about the week is off-field. There's a lot going on, and it's there's a lot at stake, I guess, off the field with respects to Maddie's vision and the cause. But on the field, there's a lot at stake as well, which I guess just adds a whole different layer to this version of Maddie's match, which is really exciting. The competition's a better competition when Richmond are up towards the top of the ladder, and we've got a spot in the 8 at the moment that we're pretty keen to hang on to. So yeah, there's a lot at stake for both teams. This game's different to the last game 2 years ago, I guess, in a lot of respects, because last time it was so fresh, so it felt like there was just probably more emotion around the game. And in the 2 years since, we've been able to achieve a lot as far as Maddie's vision goes, and to be able to actually recognise and see the difference that fundraising can make is probably the major difference.
There is people out there that are in less fortunate situation than our families in, and don't have the voice of AFL to express their message. So, deep down, we're representing every person that and every family that are out there that unfortunately have been through this or are going through it at the moment.
The Art of Football gives it a different edge, which I think is really cool, and also Maddie's match is very St Kilda Richmond centric. It gives all the other teams across the competition and the women's competition a chance to become involved as well. So it's a great concept. It's been really well supported by the athletes and the artists and the public.
I'm extremely happy with mine. I think speaking inside, I mentioned the cheekiness about it, which I feel represents who I am as a person. They've actually got a little bit of every person who's put themselves out there to have a ball painted about them. So obviously the 9 AFL players and the 2 AFLW players, but the little bit of soul from the artists, the difference as well. So we've come up with 11 great products that I think really that we're extremely proud of.
And Nick Revolt will be live at the AFL 360 desk tonight. And of course, I've got the Fight Like Maddie scarf on. Anthony Hudson joins me now. Hutto, the footy family is a pretty special one when it comes to rallying around its own.
Yeah, it certainly is, Nez. And I think it's great that both Nick and Jack, the way they've taken this on, and I think we've all seen what Maddie meant to both of them, and the fact that it's from 2 clubs has really helped, as you said, bring the whole footy world along for the journey. And this match obviously means a fair bit on the field from a club point of view this week, but it really has honoured Maddie well and helped raise much-needed funds, as you saw there, for the cure. So I think the whole footy world will be behind them again on Saturday night. It's going to be one heck of a game, so looking forward to having Nick with us at the desk tonight.
You've been covering the game for a long time now, Hutto. Tom Boyd is the 3rd player this season to spend time away from the game for depression. Is it a good thing that the topic is no longer so taboo?
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. And I think the fact that more players are now talking about it and admitting to suffering depression, it also, in a way, clouds the issue, because we're not sure how long these things have actually been going on and people haven't been willing to talk about them. But that's all part of what is a really complicated issue. We'll definitely talk to Nick and our past players about that as well tonight, because, as you said, it's something that seems to be ever-growing, and trying to work out the exact cause is so tough because there's so many different elements and each case is different.
Thank you very much, Anthony Hudson. You can catch Robbo and Hutto with Nick Revolt, plus David King, Mark McClure and Mark Bomber Thompson. AFL 360, 7:30 Eastern on Fox Footy Tonight. Heading out but still want to get your fix of footy news? Remember, you can always watch AFL Tonight via the Fox Sports app. Next, we head to Adelaide to talk to Sam Jacobs as the Crows prepare to host the Dogs on Friday night. Welcome back to AFL Tonight. I'm Narrowly Meadows. The Crows and Dogs kick off around 16 on Friday night. Adelaide ruckman Sam Jacobs joins me now from Adelaide. Sam, thanks for your time. The news of Tom Boyd today, he's taking time away from the game for clinical depression. As a leader of the comp, how do you react to that?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Narrowly, first off. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I can only, speak from our club, and, we've got some terrific, things in place to make sure the welfare of our players is paramount. And, if that's the best thing that Tom feels that he needs at the moment, then I'm sure the Bulldogs, along with the industry, will get behind him as I guess it's something that's becoming more important with the pressures of the game and things like that. And, I think it's great for him to be able to, speak out if he is struggling, first of all, so that way we can, try and fix a problem and make the industry better.
Are you concerned by the prevalence of the issue, and have you ever struggled with something like this?
I think no doubt that, players have all gone through tough times, but, I guess what we're learning is that, there's a real, lack of education around, how serious it is with some guys. There is going to be times you're struggling, but, you don't know to probably what extent is, there's no sort of, outstanding guidelines that you can go by. So as players will go through tough times, obviously Tom's is a lot more serious, and he's put his hand up and acknowledged that he needs help, and, hopefully he can get back soon and play some great footy as we know he can.
Well said, Sam. Friday night, do you think you'll recognise all the Dogs players? I realise this is a strange question, but you haven't played them since round 7 last year. That's 426 days between Gatorade drinks.
Yeah, it is. It's an interesting on the fixture. We're going to have Geelong the following 2 weeks later, twice in 6 weeks, and we've only been playing Carlton, once a year as well. So it is going to be different. It's obviously, the Bulldogs have been, fantastic the last 12 months, and we've actually, fortunate enough, I guess, been able to watch a fair bit of them play as rightly so they've deserved the best time slot. So we've actually had a pretty good look at the Dogs, and I think we're pretty well prepared going into Friday night.
What have you made of them this year? Because they've been up and down.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing, is they're just chasing that consistency. We know how good their best is, as they showed that last year when they peaked at the right time through the finals, and they've got a lot of class players, and I think they're probably finding their feet. They've got Mitch Wallace back in the team, Rob Murphy, and I've got no doubt they're going to be dangerous come the back end of the year when they start getting everything together.
Will you target Jason Johannesson because it's worked?
I guess if you look at recent history, ever since probably the Sydney game, the teams have put time into him and I guess really stopped his influence. And we know once again he's a player who's performed on the big stage really well by winning the Norm Smith. And I think as the game gets closer, we'll have a closer look and see if we send one to him or how the coaches decide to deal with it. But I guess in the past that's what the history shows.
Your teammate Jake Lever has been linked to a couple of clubs. One is the Dogs. Do you think he'll stay with the Crows?
Yeah, I do. Jake's one of my close mates, and I've got real confidence that he's going to stay at the Crows. Obviously, you don't know until it's locked in, but he's going to be a real strong leader of our footy club, hopefully in the years coming forward. And he's a real quality person. I think now he's showing his capabilities as a player. He's a guy that's playing probably beyond his years. He's only a third-year player. He's got a lot to learn, and but he's been fantastic for us. And I'm really excited to see what he can do for the club in coming years.
Another good mate of yours, Bryce Gibbs. You got a close look at him on the weekend. Are you going to get in his ear and just maybe ask him to request another trade at the end of this year?
Absolutely, I'll be trying my best. I've been into him for a few years now, and last year we finally made some ground, but unfortunately it didn't come off. So, he's playing great footy again at the moment. He certainly showed, I guess, us club what he can do when he was in full flight on the weekend, and it's great to see him. He's taking contested marks. He had 15 tackles again on the weekend, and I think he's really elevating his game to be one of the premier midfielders in the competition. And I guess our club's made no secret that we are in line and looking for a midfielder, so it'd be great to get one of your close mates to come over and play.
Now, Sam, it's obviously been an incredibly important week for the club. It was Phil Walsh's anniversary on Monday. How did you remember him?
Yeah, we didn't do anything as a club, anything formally, but I know a lot of the guys, and speaking to a few of the boys on the day, we all just sort of had, I guess, a little moment of reflection and have a think about how Phil influenced us, as a team and also as a player. And, I think some of the life lessons that he, had already imparted on us in 9 months, he really sticks with the group now. I think we've got a really, galvanised close group now, and I think that started with when Walshy come on board. So, we're very lucky to have spent 9 months with him, and you can see just by Twitter and things like that how much he impacted the whole industry, as you see numerous clubs have got around him on the day.
Sam Jacobs, thank you so much for your time on AFL Tonight. Good luck on Friday night.
Thanks, Natalie. Cheers for having me.
Fremantle coach Ross Lyon has confirmed injury-plagued docker Harley Bennell is in line to return to footy via the Waffle next week. Fremantle midfielder Connor Blakely is set to come straight back into the Dockers senior side after being dropped by the club for a midweek surf. Blakely was left out of the team to play St Kilda after he told the club he was ill and then went on a surfing trip with mates. Coach Ross Lyon says Blakely is available this week, but the club had to send a strong message.
You learn some lessons out of it. As a club, we take a step forward. You just can't be ruled by performance game day. There's strong history throughout the league within this state. If you just measure your club on what you deliver game day, you can end up in trouble down the track. We all know that. So when the garment starts to fray a little bit, as gentle as that was, you need to commit to some preparation and some standards. Otherwise, what do you stand for? Nothing.
Given Blakely's love for the water, he would have felt right at home in wet conditions at training. Stephen Hill didn't make an appearance but is expected to return, while Lachie Neale and Lee Spur worked away from the main group. Western Bulldogs coach Luke Beveridge says Mark Hutchings' hit on Jason Johannisen was cowardly. Johannisen has been heavily targeted by opposition teams in recent weeks and has struggled to handle the increased attention. It was Hutchings' job to shut the Norm Smith medalist down on Saturday, and Beveridge took exception to this incident.
He got cleaned up from behind. Hutchings ran off the bench without him looking. Now it's cowardly. And we got a free kick from it, but he got away with that, and Jay has to put up with that at the moment. Now we're not going to go and belt Hutchings because we are a disciplined side, but some of that stuff's a bit concerning.
Eagles coach Adam Simpson has strongly defended his player, saying Hutchings was just doing his job.
He's played his role. It's a pretty brutal competition, isn't it? So you do what you do within the rules to win the game. And I don't think that went outside the rules. And if it does, you get to give away a free kick.
One of the Bulldogs' best ball users, Johannisen, has only averaged 14 disposals in his past 4 games. John Worsfold had no problem with CEO Xavier Campbell tweeting his disappointment following Essendon's shock loss to Brisbane on Sunday. But Campbell has since apologised to the playing group, and the coach concedes some players may have taken offence.
Some players might get a little bit offended, like why is the CEO telling us that? They've already had a spray from the coach. People are queuing up to get into us. Everyone's different. But Xavier, with good leadership, addressed it with the guys. I think that's good. Xavier put his thoughts out there, addressed it with the team about the context behind it, let everyone express their opinions, and we're on the same page.
Essendon's on-field leaders have been heavily criticised this week, while club great Matthew Lloyd says the team has a lot of talent, but they lack mental toughness.
We're a pretty resilient and strong group, and 2 games where we haven't played well in 20 or 30 minutes of footy, I don't think is a strong indication of where we're at. I'm very proud of the resilience and the toughness of this group.
Despite back-to-back last quarter fade-outs, Worsfold has forecast few changes for Saturday's must-win clash against Collingwood. Tomorrow on AFL Tonight, Hawthorn star Jack Gunston is back, and so are his Hawks. We talk about the club's mid-season turnaround. Thanks for your company. Have a fantastic evening.